Welcome, everybody. I think we're going to get started if you're ready. So, very happy to have Sandy Perrin with me tonight, who's our Missoula County plant specialist. So she's going to talk about the lettuce and all things that grow. And I'm Kelly Moore. I'm going to talk about the food part, as I usually do. And we're going to make some vinaigrettes. So you'll have a tasty salad today. So, yeah, welcome.
So it's been a long winter, and I got a little excited, thinking let's do something fun so I can grow something this winter. And I have a very easy plant set up here as far as to grow things. So I started all my lettuce from seeds. I got a little over anxious and started it actually about the 25th of January. We already harvested one batch at the end of February. March.
I think, yeah.
March.
Yeah.
We did. Yes.
Time goes by so fast.
No, it was February. Because I remember the staff. Yeah, we had a
Okay.
staff meeting. So anyway, it was about the second week, March is what. So I got really excited and didn't time it very well. But I had a second batch of seedlings, so then I started those up. So this is really easy to do from home. I didn't use a heat mat or anything. This was just on my table in the office. That I just started a mixture of a variety of seeds. You can get some different blends in a lot of seed packets. So this one was a farmer's market blend and a must-have mustards. Thought that'd make for a very tasty type of salad. A lot of different textures and different types of flavors within that. So just sprinkled some seeds literally in a bigger pot that I had that I used for the seedling growth. And when they got up to be about a couple inches tall, then I started transplanting them into the bowls, trying to gauge how many it would take to make it nice and full. I always recommend using a very well-drained potting soil mix. I'm not a Miracle-Gro fan, and I don't consider it well-drained. That tends to clump up on me, so I like a really good organic mix like Black Gold, Happy Frog. I've even used Glacier Gold professional potting mix. So real easy, just sprinkle some seeds, literally. You could have grown them in these pots. Might have taken a little bit longer time because of the rooting structure. But as you can, this one is actually one of the ones that we harvested about a month ago. And so you can cut and let them grow again as well, which is kind of the fun part. You can keep salad going. And actually starting now, we could actually start putting these out during the day and start hardening them off so they wouldn't have to be under lights at this point in the season. But previously, as we know, it's been a long winter, and a little bit of green under the lights made me feel a lot better through those winter months. I did fertilize them lightly. You could have done it two different ways. I just used a Real Balanced 20-20-20 formula, or you could have used a pelletized Osmocote, which slow releases nutrients. I like to do it when I water, when I'm doing interiors like this. I can kind of control it a little bit better. Had I been outside, I probably would have used something like this. It would have made it a lot easier. I wouldn't have had to mix up water and fertilizer. I could have just watered straight from the hose. So you can do a lot of different things as far as the type of greens you like. In this mixture, I'll just kind of point out, this is some of the mustards. They're a little bit of the broadleaf. They probably have a little bit more of a spicier flavor. And with the mustards also are some of those lacier looking ones as well. Almost look like kale. And then just your other lettuce mixes. This is about the maximum growth you really want to have them, because if they start to get too much bigger or the mustards try to bloom, then your lettuce is going to be bitter and tasting. So this is kind of where it's just lovely and juicy and has the best flavor, is right here. If you had a real strong south window, you could probably do it in something like that as well. We just don't have a lot of really nice sunny days sometimes during the winter, and I didn't have that available in my office, so that's where I choose to use lights when I do it. Most of these are what we call a leaf lettuce, not a head lettuce. That's where you can get that cut and come again growth on it. So for only being 3 weeks or 4 weeks of growth, that's pretty good because there's another salad right there. Not as big as the first, or what we're going to eat today, but still pretty good. And this will continue to grow, you know, for probably at least another salad blend. Once I cut this, I could probably get it to flush one more time. So it gives us quite a bit from, you know, just a few tiny seeds. Pretty good investment. These are many different light fixtures you can use. I've found this one to be probably one of the little bit better. It's an LED, so it is a little bit more efficient. Probably this whole setup, of course, I purchased this a few years back. Probably my best now maybe around $40. You can go to like places like Home Depot and get all these things cut. They're already pre-length to that and all the fittings, some chain. So once you get it set, you can use it for a lot of different things, not just this mixture and growing a lot of seeds. But I think it's a fun thing to do during the wintertime, gives you a little hope that spring is truly on the way with this. And again, like I said, you can do a lot of different flavors within this mixture. And it's very simple. You know, when you get ready to start harvesting, I've cleaned my scissors, but you're literally just, you can just cut portions or you can harvest the whole thing to use as needed. So if you want any of the specialized advice I've given you today that you want to know where I got these things, you're welcome. I put my business card out here as well to take that, and I can certainly answer any other questions by email or help you, guide you to getting these. I repurpose containers. These are containers we've used in other classes, so you don't have to buy a brand new container. I just always recommend that you do change your dirt in between growing, because I think these are full of roots and pretty well spent by the time you get done doing composting. That's where they're going to go home to tonight, is my compost pile. So they're great to reuse again in another form. But other than that, I'm just going to harvest these and chop them up, and I'm going to let Kelly take over because hers is the good part.
Well, first of all, before I take over, but I will try not to take over for too long. Anybody have any questions for Sandy? Not growing anything, or? Sure.
I'm just curious, how long have you been growing the full leafy ones?
These have I potted them up, so if I started them on January 25th, I probably waited almost another month before I took those little plants that I had left over from the first two. I probably put those into these containers about a month later, because I knew the first containers were really going to outgrow my projection of when this was going to be ready. And that's why we had to harvest the first two containers over a month ago. So really, it's about 6 to 8 weeks that you need to do it. So I overestimated. If I started end of January, my first harvest was really right toward the end of, first week of March, end of February. Yeah, so 6 weeks maybe is probably a sufficient time. Lettuce germinates really easy and really quickly. So within like 5 days, I had germination of the lettuce. Some of them, what I call the mustards, are much faster germinating than a lot of the leaf lettuces. But yeah, it was really quick, and I was just amazed at how well they did. It seems like this year, because again, it's been a very long winter. It's been very white out. This was just a ray of sunshine in my office. So.
I know, Sandy, do cats like to eat those? I think I could see that as a problem.
You know, I've never seen cats into the lettuce. There's no catnip involved here.
Yeah.
It just depends on the cat.
I guess so. Yeah. It smells so fresh. Well, anybody else have any questions? You can certainly ask afterwards too. But
I think I missed the very beginning. Cindy, you were saying that you repot, so you transplanted.
I did. I started them in, actually, it was a package of little cells, and that's where I sprinkled my seeds in. So some of those cells I just, left. I didn't transplant them all into the original planters, and thought, oh, I'm gonna give those away or do something else with them. And then when I saw how big my first pots were taking off, I thought, oh no, I'm gonna make a second batch. And so that kept it back about 3 weeks so they'd be ready for this class. Yeah. But no heat mat or anything. This is literally sitting on a table in the middle of my office. So it didn't need anything else other than that. And I probably fertilized, maybe 3 times. This potting mix states it has a little bit of a fertilizer boost in it. This one was, I think, the black gold. So I didn't want to over fertilize in the beginning. But then as they started to really get pretty bushy, I knew that they were starting to be a little off color, a little light in color. I thought, oh, it looks like they need some nitrogen. So that's when I gave it a couple fertilized waterings.
What? Are we ready to move on to the next part? Okay, and you can certainly talk to Sandy at any point too when we're done here. So because we have all these beautiful lettuces and you just want to enjoy the taste of those, not overdo your dressing. So not that I'm going to say anything bad about this kind of stuff, but we're not going to use this. I would feel like those lettuces would cry if you poured this on there. So we're sorry, you're not having ranch tonight. I'm putting it away. Okay, so that's not what we're here for. We are going to make vinaigrette because it's made fresh out of fresh ingredients, and those lettuces deserve that, and that's what's going to make them taste the best. Okay, so the word vinaigrette, does anybody know what the background is? Because we're going to talk about food history always. That's important. It makes it more fun. Does anybody know where that originated? Take a guess. What's it? That's a good guess, but no. Close, though. It's close by. Yes. Sorry, you said France. Yes. Is a French word. Was the original form in vinaigrette, maybe? I'm sorry, I don't know much French, but that's what it looks like. It should be pronounced that way. So the nice thing about a vinaigrette, obviously the sound of it, what's the ingredient that goes in there? Vinegar, that's right. Vinegar, and what do you think the other thing is? Oil. Those two are essential for making vinaigrette. Yes, but you've heard that saying, like oil and vinegar don't mix, right? So, yeah, but we're going to find a way to make it mix, okay? So there are 3 types of vinaigrette. There's a balsamic, a creamy, and more of a citrus. So we have a couple different kinds tonight for you to try, and that will be fun to see which one you like the best. So you might ask, well, how do you know which vinegar or which oil to use? Obviously, I brought a lot of bottles tonight. I've got a lot of this stuff in my shelves at home. So I like to have a good variety. We'll start out talking about the oil. I use a lot of olive oil, as you know, if you've been here before. There's so many kinds of olive oil. You can also use, though, just a regular vegetable oil, if that's what you've got. Any kind of nut oils, avocado oil, they all have their own little flavor. So you just have to kind of experiment sometimes. Definitely the olive oil will have a little stronger flavor, but that's typically what I use most often. As far as vinegars go, there are so many, and some of you probably might even make your own vinegars, put them together and have some different flavors. One of my favorites is balsamic vinegar. Definitely has a certain flavor to it if you like that. But there's a white wine vinegar, champagne vinegar, sherry vinegar. So, you can just try those. Just another red wine vinegar. Rice wine vinegar is one I like to use a lot. It's a much sweeter flavor. but it lends itself very well. Tonight, one of the ones we're going to try is a miso ginger vinaigrette. So you'll get to taste that and see what you think about it. Apple cider vinegar is also good. There's probably one vinegar that I wouldn't recommend using. It's a distilled vinegar. It's good to clean stuff with, but I don't think I'd make a dressing of it, no. So, but most people have apple cider vinegar at home, so that's a good one. But those two things alone don't really make something that would taste probably the best, right? So we are going to add some other things. So you have to, since the oil and water don't mix, there's the word emulsify. So that's a pretty important process. And to get that emulsification, sometimes you have to add something that's like a binder. So Dijon mustard is one. Mayonnaise might be another one you would add. And then we're going to add some other things to go along with that. You can also add citrus, lime, lemon, some orange. And so that's what's going to add flavor to the vinaigrettes. Okay? You can put so many different things in there. It's just up to you and your imagination. Also, we use herbs. I've got fresh herb. Dill is required in one of our recipes. Ginger, we have ginger as well. Let me see what I did with a piece of ginger. Thank you, right in front of me. Okay, so this is the raw ginger. Probably everybody's tried that, yeah. And then there's also the ground ginger. You can use that if you want, but you use a different amount depending on which one of these you use. Can anybody tell me, what do you think, which one has the most potency to it? Which one would you add more of? What's that? This one does not, yeah, it does have more potency than this one, yes. It does taste better. Yeah, I agree. Because you are grating it fresh, so it's a great smell. Usually, or sometimes people keep spices or anything in a bottle for way too long. So if you've had it for more than a year, probably isn't going to taste the best, okay? So if you open up, you can't smell it, then it's probably way past its time. So then we're going to add sometimes something sweet. I like to use honey a lot, just to add a little bit extra flavor. I don't use that in recipes where I use the rice wine vinegar, but honey tastes so great with all the citrus. And then salt and pepper, and garlic. So those are some basic things you can use, and they will be on the recipe. A shallot is called for in one of the recipes. We're lucky to have lots of good shallot growing places around here. Garden City Harvest, Benson's. So shallots usually that you see are much bigger than this. This is what the shallot looks like when you peel it. It has much milder flavor than onion, so it's very good to put in a salad dressing. Yeah. So, like I say, we'll get started. The ones I've made already are the balsamic, maple balsamic vinaigrette. That's on your recipe. I usually either make them in a jar, which I'll make the one here in a few minutes, the lemon garlic vinaigrette, or I have these containers. So anything that you can use to shake together, then that's what you should keep your dressing in. Definitely keep it in the fridge. Any part that's not used. A lot of people say, well, why can't I just leave it sitting out? If it were just oil and vinegar, you could. But it's when you add other things to it, that's where you can't leave it unrefrigerated. Like the dill that we're gonna put in, or the garlic, if that were to sit out for a long time, then you could cause some, a little bit of illness if you put that on your salad. So let's see, what else do I want to bring up before we get started? Oh, if another little hint too, if you don't like the taste of raw garlic, it's just too much. If you just put this in a little simmering water for about 3 or 4 minutes and then pull it back out and then chop it up, it's not as strong of a flavor. So that's kind of the hint for that. Any questions so far? Yes?
You said you don't generally mix honey and rice vinegar? Why is that?
Just because I don't necessarily feel like you have the need to do that, and that's just my personal opinion because this is so sweet. So you have that acid, with the vinegar, but it's a sweet flavor. So if I want, it's a lot of this is experimentation. You find the things you like to put together the best. You had to put oil with a vinegar together to start with. Everything else is going to be up to you. So don't be afraid to just experiment that way. The one vinaigrette we're going to make tonight, that lemon garlic, that is the most simple vinaigrette you could ever make, right? And just the fact you make it fresh and you put it on fresh salad, that makes a big difference in the flavor. So, I mean, you could, if you just don't have honey, if you just wanted to add a little sweetness, you could add a little brown sugar or whatever. But a little to start, then add more if necessary. The same with the salt and pepper. If you over salt something, it's pretty hard to come back from that, right? So, anyway, let's talk about, somebody was asking a question about the miso. Let's talk about that one first. And that one's right here. I love miso, and it comes in, this is just a white miso, comes in this kind of container. Does anybody know what miso is made from? It looks like peanut butter cookie dough, but it's like a fermented bean paste, yes, soybeans.
Refrigerated, or is it on the counter?
This is in the refrigerated section, and I always say I'm not going to name names of where I find things, but sometimes I'll always go, if I want something a little unusual, I'm going to go to, good food store or natural grocers. And there's a lot of different kinds of miso. There's a darker miso. This one has a nice mild flavor, so it's kind of a good one to get started with. I'll give you a chance to taste this on your own in a few minutes if you're interested in that. And it can be used for so many different things. So, I doubled the recipe, and this is what it makes. So really, it's not like you always think again about salad dressing. If you're going to fill up an entire bottle like this, that would take a lot. And if you're going to eat that much during the week, great. But if you're just making it to have a whole bunch on hand, I would say just make it each time. Unless you're having 50 people over and you've got to have this much constantly, because it tastes the best right when you make it, for sure. Yeah, so again, this is the double recipe. I always think about that Taylor Swift song. Does anybody know which one I'm talking about when it comes to making the dressing? Anybody like Taylor Swift? No, okay. Yes. Thanks, Alex. Shake It Off, that song. I was going to play that, but it was on TikTok, and I thought, we're kind of banned from TikTok, aren't we? So I couldn't play that tonight. But so anyway, shaking is so important, okay? You put your oil and your vinegar in there, and you're going to shake it. And when I make the lemon garlic one, we'll show you that. This one is the maple, so obviously you can tell by the color. Real maple syrup in there. Let's see, what else does it have to make it that color? The balsamic. So you've got rice wine vinegar in here, balsamic in here, and the other one we're making is just going to have the lemon juice. So you'll get to have a taste of each one of those and pick out which one. I would suggest you have a couple different kinds because you're going to get tired of the same flavor over and over. So experiment again. And just Google vinaigrettes, you'll come up with all different kinds for sure. Okay, let's get started with our lemon garlic. And like I said, the recipes are at the end of the table. If you didn't get yours yet, you're welcome to get one, follow along. So, gonna use my good old canning jar. That comes, and then it's a good place to store it too when you put it in the fridge. So we're gonna need a tablespoon of lemon juice. If you don't have a lemon, the bottled lemon juice is okay, but I always like to do these if you can. So I'm just going to, and as you know, when I do class, I am very messy. I just take up the whole counter. So, so we need, probably we're going to double this one as well. So when it calls for 1 tablespoon lemon juice, we're gonna do 2. And of course, you never know for sure how much juice is in the lemon, if it's real juicy. So I'm trying to do it in a separate container, and then we'll measure. Okay. And when it comes to your like favorite utensils of all time, this is one of them. I love this little thing. I know there are like electric juicers, but I just like doing it this way. And then, of course, you could always use the lemon peel somewhere. You could even put it in this if you wanted. All right, so we've got that done. But we're going to put the oil in there first. And let's see how much we need, 2 tablespoons. And we're gonna use this, the olive oil. What did I read somewhere where people ask, okay, what do you put in first? The oil or the citrus or vinegars? And they said, always remember the pants first, then the shoes. So the oil is like the pants, and the shoes is whatever you add onto the oil. So the vinegar and the citrus. So I thought that was a good way to remember. Okay, there's 1 and 2. And I don't use any fancy olive oil. No. All right, and then the 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And let's see, I'm just gonna do that because, okay, there's 1. Actually, wow, that's 2 tablespoons. Huh, that is pretty lucky for not measuring. All right, now, so we've got those 2 together, so you can tell it's not gonna mix up right when we're just doing it like that. So then that means we're gonna be shaken. But at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and add the other stuff because it might as well be shaken all together. Right? So it calls for 1 large garlic clove. So, Sandy, I'm going to borrow that knife if you don't mind. Oh. And again, I'm going to try to cut this up small enough so we're not going to do the simmering garlic thing. Just going to cut out that part. All right. And because this garlic clove is so big, I think we're going to just leave it to this 1, because when they said a large clove of garlic. This one's an extra large, so. And it's always important to have a good sharp knife too.
Could you use elephant garlic if you decided you want a milder garlic?
You know, I'm sure
Have
you
you ever-
could.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's.
Or do you think it could be too mild that it wouldn't?
You know, I don't think so because I think it's still going to give the garlic flavor. Just that oil will be in there. So. And I know sometimes people will peel their garlic and just keep it in oil, but of course keep that refrigerated. So it's still food safe. I'm sorry, what was that?
Do you use a garlic press or is that better?
You could do that. To me, it kind of makes it mushy. And I love to cut. I could do it all day long. And you know, I might not be fast, but it's very comforting to me. So I'd rather do it the hard way. And of course, depending on how you cut garlic, there really is a different flavor. Sometimes it's a little sweeter if you, how is it? I'll have to review on that, but I know sometimes if you slice it, it's not as strong as when you chop it like this. So, and of course you can roast it, and that's a really great flavor. Okay, I'm just gonna send that in there. And you probably can smell that over there. It's pretty strong. And let's see, we've got our lemon juice in there, our garlic, and our oil. And then basically we're just gonna add a little bit of salt and pepper. And although this recipe doesn't call for it, we might have to add just a teeny bit of honey, just for good measure. And I'm just using a regular like kosher salt. And I usually always just guess, but I'm going to follow the recipe tonight. So, okay, that's a 4, so we're gonna do it twice. And salt's really important. You don't want it to be too salty, but you do want it to have that flavor.
So how much honey did you put? Like about a half a teaspoon?
I might just even put like a 1/4 of a teaspoon to start. Yeah, we'll see. Sometimes I'll go ahead and put this together and then I'll taste it. And then that's how I know how much more to add after that. Okay, now let's see, we're just shake. And, you know, even though you do it this first time and you might use it, then maybe you store it for a while. When you take it back out, you might have to shake it again because it will have separated again. So that doesn't mean you throw it away just because it's separated. Just keep shaking it. And some people like this chilled. I don't know what you guys prefer. I like it kind of room temperature. Oh. Okay. Do you want to be our taste tester, Sandy? And tell me
I
how
think
much
that's you.
It's me. Okay.
You're the one with the golden tongue that you know just what's right.
That is pretty lemony, which is good. But that's why I'm going to tone it down just a teeny bit and add some honey. So I'll just probably start with just that little bit. Yeah, I love how honey's always like different colors too and different flavors. Okay. Then we'll just shake it up again. Actually, if you had to do this all day, it would be good for muscle. Make it run it. Okay. And clean spoon. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, still citrusy. This one will definitely be the sweeter one because it does have maple syrup. Okay. You could also put a little dill in this one if you wanted. Oh. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll get all of our dressing set up here. But in the meantime, if anybody wanted to taste a little miso, you can come get a carrot stick and I'll set some out. You can dip, one-time dip in there and you can taste that. No double dipping, right?
Would you use that miso paste for soup? Just put some in hot water for soup?
You probably can, Alex, you could probably help me with this because you were a great cook. Yeah, so what do you usually use it in?
Well,
The miso.
I was just sick for a while and I just make a cup of hot water and put a spoonful of miso in. And it was really great. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's great for like,
a sore throat or something.
yeah, just, I mean, it's a fermented food, so it has a lot of health benefits, according to some people, who I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, or just to fill out a flavor of a soup or something.
Yeah.
There's a miso soup.
Yeah, like at a Japanese restaurant.
Oops. Okay, well, I'll just leave that spoon in there, but, okay. And two, if you didn't use all of this, then you just stick it in the fridge, and usually lasts up to about 4 or 5 days. No, I mean it could last longer, but yeah, I think the flavor's gonna start changing a little bit. The miso, because it started to separate, it's a lot thicker of a dressing. So I've shaken it, but sometimes I have to get the whisk out too. The thing is about these, because they're some pretty good flavors, you don't need a whole lot. You don't want, like people pour on the ranch or whatever. And it's so delicate on these brand new leaves, you don't want to overdo it. Again, it's just, so I'm just going to put a little bit in every one so that way you can taste both of them. Let's see. Sandy, do you mind if I make you work more? Okay. Yes, please. And then I'll just have to get a different spoon. Oh, yeah, right over there for that one. There we go. Thank you. Okay, and then we'll have you come around.
This is my favorite. That I've had anxious to try.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You try 'em- You need to try them all, but this is my favorite.
Which is your favorite, Kelly?
You know, I like this miso one the best. Just something about it. I mean, this one, I would just put a spoon in there and eat it just like that. I wouldn't need salad. But okay. We'll just put, let's see, closer here. Okay. Some people ask me too about, does it have to be Dijon mustard? Can it be? There's a lot of different kinds of mustards, and it could be any kind you want. Again, it's just whatever flavor. And plus, this is a nice color too, because eating has a lot to do with color too, does it? So if you had like a bright, like the regular hot dog mustard, sometimes that's not as appealing that you use that, and it's a much sharper flavor. So that's why I choose the Dijon. Oh, thank you, Sandy. Okay. And two, a lot of times people will, when they're getting ready to do their salad, they'll salt and pepper it ahead of time before they add dressing. I've seen too, when people are doing a very large salad, sometimes they'll put the dressing in the bottom of the empty bowl and then put the lettuce and you just gently toss it. So it takes very little. One of my favorite ways to do a salad actually is salt and pepper it. I put like a tablespoon or more of olive oil, pour it over, squeeze lemon juice, and then put it together. It tastes amazing, just with that simple thing. So anyway, come and help yourselves. Come on up. Thank you.